Hi, and welcome to the sixth module of 9 modules of the Revit 2024 Level 1 course. And in this module, we're going to be looking at annotating the project. So we'll be continuing from where we left off with the previous model that we were building based off of the example sketch that we've got here. So hopefully you've been following all the modules consecutively and you've reached the point now where we've finished creating the ground floor walls, the first floor walls, we've created the staircase, we've added doors and windows, we've created the kitchen countertop, we've added a zinc, we've added a stovetop here. We've created some furniture by placing the dining room table. We've got some seating created here. And then on the first floor, we've got the bathroom fitted out. We've got some beds placed and we've got the shower placed there. So when we look at this in the 3D view, we can see the following over here. And let me just change these walls again to a transparent setting so that we can see what's happening inside of the project. So there we go. We've got a bit of transparency, and now we can see what that looks like in the interior. Okay, so that is the model that we've got and that we'll be working with. I noticed that my chairs are facing the wrong way around, so I could probably fix that if I want to. It's not going to really be that important, but let's just do that for the purposes of this exercise. So I'm going to select the chair, I'm going to select the rotate tool, and all I'm going to do is click the starting rotation point and the ending rotation point. And I'm going to do the same for this one. So again, I'm going to select some point here, do 180 degrees and place it over there. Okay, and when we look at that in 3D, that is now facing the correct way. A lot more sociable, I would say. Okay, so we've got our model, and what we want to do is we want to start annotating. So the first thing we'd usually start with is the dimensioning. So to do that, we go to the Annotate ribbon tab here at the top, and from the dimension panel, we're going to choose Aligned, okay? And then we're going to start selecting our dimension position. So again, select Aligned. We'll probably start with grids. So I'm going to select the grid intersections of the grid vertical grid lines there, and I'm going to place my dimensions somewhere around here. I'm going to do the same for the other direction, and I'll place this somewhere over here. Now notice when I select the grid and I click and hold the mouse button and I move up and down, I can reposition these a little bit. And if I wanted to create an overall dimension that sits on top of that, you'll notice when I bring it up above that, it's going to snap to intervals that's going to create an exact spacing for me between those grid witness lines, which is really convenient. And let's say we wanted to add some additional interior dimensions here. Let's say from this deck or patio here to this wall. Remember, if it wants to snap to the center, but we want the outside, just press the tab button when your cursor is on that line and then click. Now we don't want to place it yet. We're going to create more dimensions in this sequence. So I'm going to press tab again until I get that inner line, and there we go. I'm going to do the same here. So I'm going to move, tab, click, move, tab, or just wait and see if it selects the line and click. Do the same here. So in this particular case, I want that line, tab, click, click. Then I'm going to do the same here. This case, it already picked it up, but that's not the wall, it is the wall. And this is the wall, tab, click. Up here, click, click. All right, and to space that exactly nice, I'm going to wait until it snaps. And now the distance between these witness lines will be equal. Okay, great. So we've done that side. Let's do this one. So tab, click, tab, click. Then I'm going to go all the way down here. Tab, click, tab, click. And I'm going to place that, move this until it snaps. There it snaps. So I'm going to click. Okay. If we want to create some additional internal dimensions, same thing, you can select any references and it will place them. Notice we've been using the aligned dimensions tool. You can use angular, radial, linear, all of those. You can place spot elevations and things if you want. We're not going to go into all of those details for this training course, but of course those are available if you need to play around with them a little bit. So I'm going to move this down here just to snap it back. So I moved these grids up a bit and I just repositioned that top one so it snaps back, so we've got an equal distance here and everything looks nice and tidy. Next, we want to add some text. So I'm going to click on the text tool and you can see we can do that with an arrow. We can do it with like a bent arrow. We can do it like, with different justifications. For now, I just want to create freestanding text and I'm going to call this one, living room. When I click outside, it means I'm finished with the text and there's a grip where I can drag this into place. If I press enter, it's going to just create a new line, which is not what we want. So if I press enter, it doesn't necessarily finish the text, but if I continue pressing enter, it's going to continue adding lines. So if we click outside, then that actually means that we're done with placing the text and it stays highlighted, so we can move this or rotate this around a little bit if we needed it to do that. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say kitchen. I click outside. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. It's going to snap to that 90-degree angle. And I'm going to move this a little bit into place and put it over there. Here, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to say washing closet. And we'll just move this a little bit into position. There we go. Very nice, very tidy. Okay, here we can do the same. We can add something here. We can say this is going to be bedroom 2. We'll place it there because I know this is bedroom 1, so I probably should have started here, but anyway, bedroom 1. And we're going to do bedroom 3 over here. Okay, so those are our bedrooms. We can do a bathroom here. And if you want, you can add something there for the staircase or whatnot, but I think this is sufficient. And it's as easy as that. We probably need to add some dimensions at this level as well. I'm just going to do sort of exterior ones here. So we just do that. Place it over here. I'm going to do an exterior one here. You probably want more for a project to be actually constructible, but since this is just a training session, we're not going to be too pedantic about that quite yet. Okay, now that's creating text and dimensions. What if we want to automatically tag things like windows and doors based on the information that's already contained here? So we've got the name here, we've got a size there, and if we look at the parameters here, if we go to the edit type, it's probably got some additional information that we could leverage. So you see it's got a construction type, timber frame MDF panel, and that's pretty much all it's got. And it's got the family name, right? So maybe we want to use that and create a label based off of that that's connected to it. And that's called tags. So if we tag something by a category or by a different parameter, then we can use tags. So you'll see if I click on that, it's going to create that internal sliding door panel tag for me automatically. How nice is that? So it's already picked it up, it knows what it is, and it's creating that tag by the category. And if I wanted to do the same here, I can go and place that. Notice in this particular case, it is not creating the category or the tag that I expected. It's just showing me probably the mark. I don't want to see the mark. I want to see something else there. So you'll notice that I don't have many options here. Now, what we can do is we can go to the type here and we can switch on things like the arrow and such, but that's not really what we want. What we want is we want to edit this family. Okay, so we're going to go edit this family, and we can see that we've got a label placed inside this component. And if we click on here where it says label, we can see what information is currently reading. And as we suspected, it's the mark. So if I remove the mark and I said, no, we actually want to see the family name and type there. So we'll list the family name and whatever other parameters is available, we could add there, like the manufacturer or the model or whatever information is available, we can attach to that. So once we've done that and we load this into the project, I'm going to say we don't have to save it, but I am loading it into the project and override that. Voila, there we go. So now we have created a new tag or updated that family tag that's going to show us the name of that component rather than the mark, which in this particular case wasn't of much use to us. Okay. So that is how we create annotations in Revit. So there's one more thing that I neglected to mention, and I mentioned that when we started with the project, the scales that we set up, but these components are driven by the scale. So we don't set the text height or the text size as we would in CAD, right? This is automatically calculated based on the scale that we select. If we wanted the ultimate paper printed text height to be different, then we can either select a different style if it relates to dimensions. So here we can see it's a 2.5 millimeter Arial label. If we wanted that to be something else, we can select it, or we can go to edit type and we can duplicate this family type and call it something else. And we can then go down to the text category and we can change the text size here to whatever desired size we want. That also includes dimension style. So here we currently see we've got the marker architectural tick style. If we wanted to see arrows, the endpoints, or different styles, we can either select them here from the drop down, or if we can't find what we're looking for, we can go and set it up in the type property. So we can create a new type by duplicating this one, calling it something else, and you can see that somewhere here it's got the tick mark, it says diagonal. We can change that to arrows. So that could be an arrow 30 degree or 90 degree or 15 degree or whatever you want it to be, and you can set the arrow size based on the options that you select. Same with text. So if we look at the tag, again, this has got a family. So if we edit that family, we'll be able to, let's do it. We'll be able to change the text height and the label properties. So we can see there's this text. Text is a tag label is 2.5 millimeters. If we wanted to change that, we can click on the edit family type, and we can then change the parameters here. There is the font, there is the text size that it's going to use. Okay, let's close that because we didn't really change anything. If we wanted to change text, for example, just normal text, not tags nor the dimensions, then we select the text, and these are going to be 3.5 millimeters. If I wanted to change that to 2.5, we can change it here by just using the type selector, or we can create a new type again with the same properties. We can change the font, we can change the overall text size. Okay, so it's not too complicated, it's very straightforward, and it's all driven by parameters in the backend. Right, let's make sure that I haven't missed anything. So we looked at creating dimensions, we looked at creating text, and we've looked at creating tags. I didn't show you how to create details, so that's something that we can look at. Now, sometimes when you are working in a model, you might want to create specific details of certain elements. So let's say we look at a section view. It could be that we want to create a hatch area somewhere or show something a bit differently. And we can do that from the detail items. So from detail items, you'll see that we've got here a hatch region, and we can use that tool to create 2D details. That means it's only visible in this view. It's not a 3D component, it's a 2D component, but we can override and overlay things or mask things using filled regions. This one is going to be a cross hatch, and if I wanted to see something like a concrete hatch, for example, then I can go and set that up and load that into this pattern and what I would like to see. So if I wanted to see the pattern here to be something else, I can go and set that up. I don't know if I have concrete here. I do. So let's make it concrete. Let's click on apply and let's accept that. And there we go. So now we have changed the display of this component to be a hatch region. It displays differently. It probably won't be a concrete slab. We said that's a floor, a wood slab, but doesn't matter. Just for purposes of demonstration, we changed the appearance in the space, but that doesn't mean the floor has actually changed at all. What we've done is we've just created a 2D detail on top of a 3D section view. Okay, So this is not permanent. It is like overriding something, sticking something over it to make it look different or appear different, but it doesn't mean it's actually changed. In fact, what we also could have done is we could have selected this floor and we could have gone to override the graphics in the view by the category or by the element. And we could have said that the projection lines and the projection patterns here, or cut patterns, should be, and it is currently by its material, or we could have said it should be concrete. So we want to see that as a concrete, and it's going to display it as such. Just a different way of doing the same thing. But in the one instance, we used annotation objects, regions to do that. And in the other instance, we used overriding the property of that material. Now, let's say we wanted to draw in some schematic lines here. We can do that using detail lines. So this is, again, 2D lines that we are going to draw. They are not part of the model. They are not 3D. They don't actually have any information attached to them. They're just 2D lines. But let's say we wanted to create some 2D lines and it had to go somewhere. We can draw that in and you'll see that this is actually running through here. So if we wanted to connect that to some gutter detail or something from here, we can go and sketch that in using detail lines. Now, just like anything else in Revit, a detail line has got properties. So you'll see that currently I'm working here with thin lines. If we wanted to change that, oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. If I wanted to change that, I can choose something else here and I can load a different line, like a hidden line type or center line or whatever. You can change the color and so forth. You'll see here are my line types currently. And if I can't find the line type that I want, I would go to the Manage tab, and here under Additional Settings, you'll see we've got line styles. And if I expand my categories, you'll see these are the ones in my list. If I wanted to create a new one, I would then go and I think click on new. I hope so. Let's call this one test 123. It's a subcategory of lines. There it is. So if we want that to be a different color, let's say we want that to be blue, and we want the line type to be, let's say -.2, just to be funny. Then when we select this line again, we should be able to change that. So if we go down here, we should see test 123, and that line is now changed. Okay, so that's how we draw in detail lines using annotation objects. Of course, there's things like revision clouds and things that you can draw in also. Let's see if I do that. It's going to create a revision cloud. There it sits. Yeah, all of that from the detail components. So we looked at tags and creating tags, detail lines. That seems like we've covered all of that. So I hope you find that useful. In the next exercise, we're gonna look at further developing our model and preparing it for ultimately publishing that. Thank you, and talk to you soon in the next module.